Welcome to the Lifestyle PT Wellness Spotlight. Our goal is to connect you with local businesses and to assist you in living your best life. Now introducing your host, Dr. Karen Shuler.
Hi, welcome to the show. We want to thank everyone for joining us today. I am sitting here with Darlene Markeson, who is the owner of Reveka Skincare. Darlene, welcome to the show.
Hi, Karen. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you with us today, Darlene. I think you've got a company that is unique, and I think your story is worth telling. And so I'm excited for the audience to get to know you a little bit better and to hear your story. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. I'm historically a special education teacher, and pretty much I've been retired for the last decade. 57 years old, and you know how this whole thing got started, and I hate to admit how superficial it was, but it was superficial. I mean, at 57, I've tried every skincare product on the market. I really feel I have, whether it's expensive or, cheap bargain basement prices, whatever. I don't mind paying for stuff if I think it's going to work. And again, at 57, I was just using these very expensive creams, and I looked like the Crypt Keeper 2 hours after I used it. And I couldn't understand why. And so this whole thing just started because I started researching, well, what am I using? They have all of these ingredients that nobody can pronounce. And well, what is this? And what does it do? And so as I started to research these different creams that, again, high end, low end, whatever, there's basically 2% of the effective ingredient in most of these things, and the rest are fillers and even harmful chemicals. And as I started to learn about this, it made me angry. I was really horrified. I mean, I'm probably going off on a tangent here, but I'm on that topic. I mean, one of my favorites is sulfates. They're in everything. They're in your shampoo. They're in your skin cream. They're in everything. They're in your soaps. And one of the things that I learned was that sulfates are actually, the ones that are in your skincare are no different than what they use to clean heavy machinery in plants and industry. And I thought that was horrible. And so, pretty much, I don't have a background in chemistry, and I'm not a chemist, but if I put my mind to something, I can usually figure out how to do it. And I'm thinking, well, how hard could it be to make a cream? Well, Karen, it turns out it's really hard. No.
But you figured it out.
It took me 18 months of intensive research and just trial and error, day in and day out. And until I could have just gone in my kitchen and used coconut oil or whatever. But let's face it, those creams are fun, right? They're just fun to like dip your hand into this creamy wonderfulness and smear it on your, it feels good. And I wanted that. So, so it took me about 18 months, but I finally got something that I really enjoyed using. And then I just shared it with family and friends, and they shared it, and so on and so forth. And before I knew it, there was Reveka. So here we are.
So you developed this product because it was meeting a need for yourself.
I just really wanted to, I eat clean, I exercise. And when I found out what I was putting on my skin, I just wasn't willing to do that anymore. I mean, what we put on our skin matters. Karen, I don't think it's a coincidence that eczema and psoriasis and all of these skin conditions that people go to the doctors to buy expensive steroids for have reached epidemic proportions. And synthetic fragrances and all of these other chemicals that are in these products, we're putting them on our skin every single day. And that cannot be good. And most people think, oh, it's just the skin. Well, no, your skin is the largest organ on your body. Mm-hmm. And everything you put on stays on the surface. I mean, a lot of these harmful ingredients can penetrate. And so I figured, well, okay, harmful ingredients can penetrate. Let's get rid of those. And what about the good ingredients? What good ingredients can penetrate? Which actually led me to magnesium. As I was doing my research and I started to learn more about magnesium, it was pretty exciting. And I figured, well, let's try it. Let's see how this works. I mean, at the time I was struggling with restless leg syndrome, and it was making me and my husband miserable. And I figured, well, all right, they say that it calms that condition. Let's give it a shot. And I put it in my cream, and I couldn't believe it. And then my husband started using our soaps and the cream, and he's got horrific skin conditions where he does use steroids on a regular basis, and he's off the steroids.
Wow, that's amazing.
The only place he still does use them are on his hands because they're constantly in soapy dishwater, and we haven't figured out a solution to soapy dishwater yet. But
Not yet, right?
not yet. We're working on that, though. Soon to be released.
I know as you're talking, that's what I was thinking, that the skin's the largest organ in our body. And to be honest, like you said, when we think about a clean and low toxic environment, I really don't think about my shampoo products, my lotions, and those types of things as, being something that I need to be clean, with. So you bring up a very good point, and that we do absorb things through our skin. So I think you've given us a lot to think about here. That's something that's so strong that can clean machinery that, is going to take all the oils and everything off of our body.
Exactly.
So I guess before we get too much into the product, tell us a little bit about now how you started the business.
So that's basically it. I'm OCD. I am, definitely when I start something, I don't really know how to stop. I just am going to pursue it to the end. And I invested a solid 3 years in just researching different ingredients and different methods for emulsions. And, I made my wish list of things that historically, if I would have gone shopping for a cream, what did I want in that cream? What would make that something that I would want to buy? What are some of the ingredients I believe in? And so I started researching things like niacinamide and a collagen, of course, and all of these other ingredients. I use this ingredient that I discovered that I thought was really cool. It's called DMAE. It's in my face cream, and it's all natural. And there's really good stuff out there. It's just required research. And so, I did all my intensive research, and then I thought the easy part was going to be making the cream. And, I have to admit, chemicals make it easy. They're cheap. They get the job done. They give you that wonderful texture, but they're horrible for you. And so I really wasn't willing to compromise. What would be the point, right? I'm going to compromise and use something just to give it a good texture. So, that was the hard part, but it was fun. I'm a geek. I love being in my kitchen concocting things, and so I just did it relentlessly. And I have a great family. Everybody was willing to let me experiment on them. And I'll tell you what else is really great, if they don't mind me throwing them under the bus this way. They all have some kind of a skin condition that they've battled with. My husband, of course, we've mentioned him, but my sister-in-laws have been just wonderful, participants, and they'll just use anything I sent their way. Just try this. and they did. And so I got great feedback from them as well. And it's been a fun evolution, but I do think the thing that was most exciting that I've become obsessed about is magnesium. It's so important. And I didn't know that when I started out. It wasn't the goal to start magnesium-based skincare. Again, it was just an evolution. And I just can't really believe the feedback we're getting from our magnesium products, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, I can't think of better testimonials than when your own family will actually use it, because they're usually the hardest on you.
Right.
So if you can
Yeah.
please them and you can get them better, then you're usually on to something.
That's what I was hoping for. Yeah, they're not going to lie to me. They'll tell me exactly how it is.
So for the business, what's your mission statement?
Just simply enough, just better health through better skincare.
I like that.
It's not something that, like you said, most people they'll read their labels when they're buying food, and they'll, so many different things we think about. But skincare, we just take for granted. Like, if it's on the shelf, what's wrong with that? and you just assume it's safe. And there are no regulations. I mean, regulations haven't been imposed since something like the 1920s on skincare products. I mean,
Oh, wow.
there's nothing out there to protect us from the ingredients in our skincare. And it's just so important. And so it's kind of my mission statement, and it's my mission. It's very exciting to be able to bring something to the market that's just clean. There's nothing in it that, I mean, from anything from sensitive skin, and again, I've run the gamut. All different kinds of skin types and children. It's just so safe. I just feel really good about it. It's just very clean. I mean, we've heard that term so many times, it's overused, but it is. It's just clean. I'd like to think Mother Nature would recommend it.
I like that point too. And one thing I love about your website is I think at your heart, Darlene, you love to teach and educate people, about what you've learned. And so I know, let's talk a little bit about some of those things that you have learned. I know we've kind of touched on the product, but the importance of clean and natural skincare, you've talked about how clean it needs to be, but could you go a little bit deeper into, some of the things that are in these products and how they're not good for us?
Absolutely. So we talked about retinoids. People think retinol is a wonderful ingredient. And it might be if you stay inside wearing a hat. If you use products with retinoids in them and go out into the sun, it exacerbates skin cancer astronomically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. And then, of course, you have the sulfates. Synthetic fragrances are alcohols. Alcohol is in everything. Alcohol is horrible. Alcohol just destroys the skin barrier. It eliminates the lipids, which keep your skin moist and supple and healthy. It destroys. And almost every facial cleanser has alcohol in it. Ironically, people with acne, so many of the products that they use to get rid of their acne dries out their skin and has alcohol in it. And here's the thing, most people that have acne, it's not because their skin is oily, it's because it's dry. Isn't that ironic, right? And most people don't think that.
It is.
And so what your body's trying to do, it's trying to bring moisture to the surface. And so it makes all of that gunk that clogs your pores and meanwhile, so what do they do? You further dehydrate your skin and you just keep exacerbating the condition. And all of these things, I don't believe man-made products are optimal on any level. I don't believe we should eat them. I don't think our bodies know what to do with them. They're foreign substances. And so you wouldn't live on a diet of fast food. Right? I mean, everybody knows that wouldn't be healthy. I mean, people have tried it, right? There was that McDonald's experiment. It's not a good idea. But we put all kinds of synthetic things on our skin and we expect it to be okay. And I just don't think it is.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is, a lot of times we are putting those astringents and things on our face, and then we're just trying to replace the moisture behind it with moisture. But it sounds like that a lot of the products we're using, that moisture doesn't match our own body's natural chemistry.
It doesn't. That's exactly right. And it's not only just, the moisture comes from inside as well as outside. And that's what humectants do. They actually, if it's a good humectant, they'll work to draw moisture from inside your body and from the outside for optimal levels of hydration. But if you're glycerin is a natural humectant. You can eat glycerin, people cook with it.
I'd say back up just a little bit. What's a humectant?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sure.
That's it.
Humectants are things that draw moisture to our skin. And so very simply, interestingly enough, if you just put oil directly on your skin, without the use of a humectant in the oil, it'll dehydrate your skin.
Oh.
It's kind of like and you're going to have to help me with this because I'm drawing a blank. But did you ever hear if you just drink water without the
like the electrolytes?
Electrolytes is the word I'm desperately seeking. Thank you. Yes. Without the electrolytes, if you're dehydrated or you're having a problem with dehydration and you don't get electrolytes into your system, drinking water won't actually even help. It could, even further exacerbate the system. Your skin's kind of the same thing. So if you just put oil on your skin without the use of a humectant, you can actually, you can lose moisture from your skin. It can actually exacerbate the dryness of your skin. And so creams, a good cream, of course, will have a humectant. Glycerin is a nice natural humectant. I mean, if you were making something in your kitchen, you could use honey. Honey's a humectant, things like that.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, you just, no, that's a great face mask, by the way. Yeah.
So just go add some honey to to your avocado and put it on your face.
Oh,
now I'm getting it.
Yeah. I highly encourage fun in the kitchen with, just what you can find. These things are great. And that's the thing. I mean, I knew that I wanted something that was clean so it wouldn't harm my skin, but I didn't understand how truly beneficial it could be. I didn't really expect the results to be as good as I think they are. But, back to just people that I was really getting like turkey neck and crepey skin.
Mm-hmm.
And just avoiding all of these harmful chemicals has done wonders. And then, of course, the good ingredients do wonders as well. Just good ingredients.
That is very, very interesting. Yeah, I think you've brought up some good information and good points that I never would have thought that if I didn't have that humectant in there with it, that may be why I wake up in the morning and my face looks drier or whatever than it did, before I went to bed. And then I would go for the retinol to try to get rid of the wrinkles. I'm perpetuating the problem.
And then you go in the sun. Don't do it.
Yeah. So thank you. All very good information, and would be something easy to do and make that mistake. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of magnesium.
Absolutely. So it turns out that nearly 80% of Americans are magnesium deficient. That was shocking to me. I didn't, including children. And we'll talk about that for a minute, just because I think it's so important to understand that fact that our food supply just isn't as rich as it used to be. I don't know. Have you ever looked at a head of lettuce recently? It's not as green as it used to be, right? I mean, it's just lacking minerals and nutrition that it used to, and it's just because it's overutilized. And so, our foods just don't have the same nutritional value that they used to. And people will think that supplements are a good way to offset that deficiency. And sometimes they are. Magnesium, unfortunately, is very hard to get into our bodies through supplements that we digest, because our digestive systems just aren't really compatible to them. And a mere 4% of the magnesium actually ever makes it into our bloodstream.
Oh, wow. 4%.
That's pretty low, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is that, when our bodies are so delicately balanced that all of the supplements we take, well, I don't know, I'm talking in circles. But for example, if you're taking vitamin D, well, vitamin D uses magnesium. In fact, zinc, calcium, potassium, iodine, selenium, all of these things that keep us healthy require at least one molecule of magnesium to get out of the starting gate. So magnesium is really a very key mineral. And everything we do, whether we're out in the sun, we're exercising, even if it's good for us, we're using magnesium. Medications eat up magnesium, and everybody's on some sort of medication these days. I mean, it's really sad. But that destroys magnesium levels. And so without magnesium, not only is that detrimental to us, because 300 daily bodily functions require magnesium, 700 enzymatic functions require magnesium, So magnesium is a key player, and we're all deficient in it. Now, and so what's the solution? Well, you can't eat it, you can't supplement with it. Actually, topical magnesium is considered to be the second most effective way to get magnesium directly into your bloodstream. So that's kind of exciting. The first one is intravenous. Doctors actually have begun implementing magnesium injections for patients who come in with the early stages of stroke or heart disease to turn it around. And they claim that the second most effective method of getting magnesium into your system is transdermally through the skin. The other thing that I like about it is that, as I started to say earlier, our bodies are such a balance that if we overdo one vitamin, that can deplete another vitamin, and we're all off balance then. Whereas if you're using magnesium transdermally, your skin can absorb exactly what it needs. So you don't have to worry about overusing it or underusing it. So it's an exciting.
That's a very good point. Yeah. So if somebody's using it, because I know some people might be saying, well, I'm taking magnesium.
Right.
But so if, worst case scenario, you're not going to absorb some of the magnesium if you don't need it, but you've got the buttercream in there that's going to really help your skin.
Exactly.
But like you said, most people are only absorbing about 4%. So I doubt very seriously that your body's going to find that it doesn't need it.
I think most people really do, in one form or another, insomnia, muscle aches. There are so many things that it controls your cortisol levels. It supports healthy hormones. It fights inflammation, and inflammation is the basis of most disease, quite frankly. So it's
and I just listened to a podcast today by that one of our local doctors, Dr. Deborah Matthews with Signature Wellness, was in, and it was talking about how cortisol can really throw off all of our hormones and our sleep and everything. So having that magnesium to kind of help level everything out so that stress is not accelerating your aging process is really important. I was also reading that you were talking about the restless leg, that 69% of people that have restless leg are magnesium deficient. So I guess that is why you're seeing such great results with restless leg with the product.
I was thrilled with that. That was my first experience with the magnesium cream. I was using it for that. And I just rub it on the bottom of my feet and my calves. And the first night I used it, I slept like a baby. It was awesome. And then I tried it. I have arthritis in my hands that can be debilitating at times. And to where you can't even touch the hand. It just hurts so bad. And I take the magnesium cream and I'll rub it into the joint. And within 5 minutes, brand new. It's amazing.
Wow.
I know. Those things, quite frankly, Karen, whenever my hand is throbbing like that, I even have I'll go try the cream, after I used it so many times.
But you still have to force yourself to go get it.
Yeah, I'm always amazed that it works. But yeah, magnesium's brilliant.
I think you've done a good job of telling us why the transdermal works. Tell us a little bit more about your product, though. Is there anything in particular about your magnesium that sets you apart from other products?
Yes, thank you for asking. So there are other magnesium products out on the market, and some are very, very good. But the one that I think really separates us from the others is that we use Zextine magnesium chloride. And what does that mean? Well, the magnesium is sourced from an ancient seabed that's over 250 million years old. It's landlocked. So a lot of the magnesium today is harvested from our oceans. But the problem with that is that our oceans were contaminated with the Industrial Revolution. And so not only are you harvesting magnesium chloride, but you're harvesting all kinds of things like heavy metals and, toxins that are very, very unhealthy, of course. And so along with the magnesium, you're importing this into your body as well. And that's just not a good thing. So Zechstein magnesium chloride, again, is this ancient seabed that's in the Netherlands. And not only is it just pure, wonderful magnesium, but it also retains the 90 plus trace minerals that I think are critical to making the product work, because you can have lab manufactured magnesium and it's pure,
Okay.
but it doesn't have the 90 trace minerals. So I don't feel it's as effective. So I think it's really important. And as far as I know, scientists have not discovered another source of pure magnesium outside of the Zechstein seabed. So that's the only kind we use.
Oh, that's great. And that's in all of your products?
That's in all my products, absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit more about what type of products that you have.
Well, I think my favorite and most popular one is the body butter. And that sells very well, again, for so many different reasons. People use it for so many different conditions. So that's very popular. And I have 2 face creams. One I have that is not for sensitive skin, and I put alpha hydroxy acids in there, and they're just, again, great humectants, and they just help eliminate dead surface skin cells and attract moisture to the skin. And then I have one for sensitive skin, a face cream for sensitive skin. And that one I put, that I mentioned it earlier, it's an ingredient called DMAE. And that's an exciting ingredient. Again, it's something that your body produces naturally. But of course, as we get older, our body stops producing so many things that, that we love in our youth. But, and that keeps your skin firm. And it's pretty effective, actually. The studies are impressive. Now, I've been asked, why don't I just put them in the same product? Well, alpha hydroxy acids and DMAE do not get along well together. They don't really play very nicely. So I keep them separate. And I have two separate face creams. Other than that, I make soap. And that's been a very, very popular item, again, because so many of the soaps that are sold are just filled with these fragrances and these sulfates and all of these things that just wreak havoc on our skin. So a lot of my customers really love the soaps, and I get such good feedback just about how well their skin is doing on the soaps. And I'll share a funny story. My husband is an ex-submariner, and I never say that right. Is it submariner or submariner? Don't tell him.
I think it depends on what part of the country you're in.
Anyway, he does this monthly chat with all of his ex-Navy buddies, and they're all these big, strapping, hulky guys. And the last time they did this, they're talking about my soap and my magnesium body butter and how good it's been for their skin, and I'm laughing.
I love it. I love it. If you can get the rough and tough Navy guys, then I'd say you about can get anybody.
Absolutely. And so the soaps are a big thing. And I make a facial cleanser that I'm pretty proud of. There's the oil cleansing method I'm a big fan of. I don't know how many people know what that is, but basically all it is you can go to your kitchen counter and you can pull out any oil from under your kitchen counter and slather it on your face. And then the key to this is you take a hot steaming washcloth and you put it on top of your face until it cools, and it just takes all your makeup off. It's like magic. But who wants to go to their kitchen cabinet and pull out sunflower oil and wash their face?
Right. Just doesn't seem right.
About that. No. So I've developed this creamy oil facial cleanser that works the same way. But it's really, it leaves your skin really well hydrated and without stripping it of any of its oils. And it's a good product. So I have a few that we're pretty proud of.
Now, just to go back to the one we were talking about, the creams for the skin with the DMAE, and then I think you said alpha hydroxy acid in it. Do they do the same thing? So are they both, like if you do have kind of crepey, wrinkly skin, are they both going to serve that purpose, or do they have different purposes?
They have the same purpose. I think it's really a personal preference. The alpha hydroxy acid, sometimes people just like to feel the product working, and you can feel the alpha hydroxy acid on your skin. You can. And so I think that's popular for that reason. And it is working. It is a very good ingredient. It's very good. And alpha hydroxy acid actually works in conjunction with the niacinamide that I put in that cream as well. And niacinamide is a really great cell regenerator. And the two of them work really well together. So that's a pretty popular one. Now, I do also use niacinamide in the one that has DMAE in it. So the niacinamide is a key player in that as well. But it's just nicer on sensitive skin. If you have any kind of if your skin is easily irritated and you don't want to feel the burn, you'd want the DMAE. And I think a lot of people who just can appreciate that. And if you have acne or any kind of eczema, you wouldn't want to use an alpha hydroxy acid. Actually, it would be a little harsh. So the DMAE is very, very great for sensitive skin. It's excellent for sensitive skin. Anybody can use it.
Okay. Well, great. And then I know one of my personal favorites is your bubble bath.
Oh, thank you. I almost forgot to mention the bubble baths. Yeah, one of my favorites too. And Karen, I'm on a mission to bring back bubble baths. What happened to bubble baths? Are we a society that we don't have time to take a bubble bath? I mean,
well, I think some of it may be those harsh chemicals you're talking about too.
Well,
that
and
sometimes you get out and you don't feel very good.
I know, it's true, right? I use the Zextine magnesium chloride, but I also put milks in my baths, and I've got a couple of different ones. One is a milk bath, and that dates back to Cleopatra and Roman societies, right? I mean, they were big on milk baths, and there's a lot to that because there's a lot of lactic acid in milk, so it is really good for your skin. That's again on the same realm as alpha hydroxy acids. That one is very moisturizing, and I use a coconut milk in it as well. And coconut milk just smells yummy, and it's really moisturizing. You don't even need the skin cream. Don't tell anyone that, but that's our secret. Don't tell it now. You don't even need cream when you get out of that one. That one's really great. And then I have a sea salt one that just is Himalayan sea salts and the Dead Sea salt baths. And so they're really rich in nutrients as well. So that with the magnesium, it's just, if you really need a boost of energy, that's a great one. And then I have a green tea. And green tea is just huge in antioxidants. And that one I actually put in a tea bag. And
fun.
Yeah, and that's kind of fun, yeah. And,
so it just floats around in the bathtub.
It just kind of floats around in the bathtub, and it get what you want. And I like that because it leaves the tub nice and clean. You don't really have to worry about cleaning out. But I like the bubbles. I have to admit, I'm kind of a fan of bubbles, so I don't really mind washing down the tub after I'm done. It's all about the bubbles.
I might like the idea of cleaning the tub too. Then you're kind of doing two things at once.
Exactly. That's true too. That's true.
I can say though, my skin feels, I've done the one with the goat milk and stuff in it, and my skin feels so soft when I get out. So I don't really feel like I need to go put on any kind of lotions or creams or anything after I get out of one of those bubble baths. So
that one's good. And I have an oatmeal one too. I almost forgot to mention an oatmeal. Here's the thing. I'm going to do a little promotion on oatmeal because once again, it's just such a fabulous ingredient. I don't know if you remember, Karen, but when we were little, our mothers used oatmeal if we had chicken pox, right? Anything. It's really a really great ingredient for soothing irritated skin. If you have sunburn, oatmeal is just wonderful. And people think, oh, oatmeal, but it's not your traditional oatmeal that you'd eat for breakfast. It's colloidal oatmeal. So it's an extremely finely ground powder. And it's just really, really great for the skin and just really healing, especially for children. If they're dealing with dry skin or anything that's irritating, bug bites, sunburn, it's a really good one. So I might have to send you one of those as well.
Those are all good reasons to get into an oatmeal bath. I'm sure poison ivy and anything that causes your skin to be itchy, it could be soothing.
Exactly.
Well, I know that I've been hearing great things about your product, that people, and we've kind of have touched on some of the things that people are experiencing as a result of using the products, but would you like to highlight maybe one or two good experiences that you've gotten feedback from people who've used them?
I think one of the most exciting responses I got for the magnesium body butter is a friend of a friend was going through chemotherapy, and the treatments were causing the bottom of her feet to burn. They were on fire every night, and she couldn't sleep, and it was just so uncomfortable. And none of the medications that the doctors were giving her were helping. And she tried the magnesium body butter, and it worked. And that was
that's awesome.
really exciting. I think it's also, I have a lot of customers who, like I said, have a lot of skin conditions like eczema, and just really hard. It's just a horrible thing to have to deal with. And they use steroids, and steroids are harsh. I mean, they're not great for you. But if it's the only thing that works, you can eat, and they're expensive. But so many have been able to give up the steroids because of the magnesium cream and the soaps. The combination is just a really powerful 1-2 punch. And they just don't deal with it anymore. So that's very exciting. I have a client who was going to a dermatologist because of a dark spot on her forehead, an older lady, and they kept removing it, and it would come back with a vengeance. And she used the magnesium body butter, and she would, I don't know why that worked, but it did. And it eliminated the dark spot. Magnesium is just really cool. It's just so
that's exciting stuff. I was going to say, but I do want to remind everybody, though, that this is a natural product. So it has not been evaluated by the FDA, but all the statistics and everything that you've mentioned today and the research, I mean, there are physicians who are doing research on these products, and that's where your information has come from. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I make no claims. I am not a physician. I have gone from what experts in the field have said. And that's where I got my information. That's what led me to even want to try this. And then it's just personal experience. So no, I make no medical claims about it. This is just fun feedback. And I just think, Mother Nature really knows her stuff. She just really knows
what you need.
She's good. Yeah.
God did a good job when he put all that stuff together. Kind of gave us everything we need, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Darlene, this has been great information, and I have learned a lot. And like I said, if anybody goes to your website, I think they will learn a wealth of information on natural products and what's good for you. And you really are somebody who gives and shares. You're not trying to keep this information to yourself. And so I think you've created a great company, and you've done a great thing, as a woman-owned business. I'm excited about these products. So tell everybody, if they want to find you, if they want to, look at the products, where can they find you?
Absolutely. You can go to revekaskincare.com, and that's REVEKA skincare.com. And there's a way to contact me on the website. And if you have any questions or you want to know anything, I just love hearing from my customers. I really consider everybody, I call it my Reveka Skincare family. And I really feel that way. I really do. I have a vested interest in everybody's story. So reach out with any questions you want to ask. I'm always happy to respond.
Well, again, thank you for being here. And as one of our listeners, Darlene has offered for everybody who's listening to receive a discount. So if you do go on her website, just put in SAVE 10. And that will give you a 10% discount off of her products. So we just want to thank everybody for listening today. And, well, I guess it's off of the body butter products is what the Save 10 will give you. But we want to thank everybody for listening today, and thank you for joining the conversation. And again, as Darlene said, if you have questions, you can contact her through her website. We'll give you the website again. It's www.revekaskincare.com. So until our next podcast, we hope everybody takes care. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Thanks, care.
Karen. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you enjoyed this podcast. Make sure to like us on Facebook at Lifestyle Physical Therapy LLC and on Instagram and Twitter at Lifestyle PT2. Until next time, stay connected and be well.